Oi! Welcome to not yet the last video of PIXAR. It's the, how do you say it? Next video is the last video of PIXAR. Let's start with rule number 14. Let's look at it. Rule number 14 is, why must you tell this story? What's the belief burning within you that your story feeds off of? That's the heart of it. Okay, defeated?
I think not!
Let's change this to, why is your program useful? What makes people want your program, or what makes your game so special? Why is your program or game better than other programs or games? Think about that. If you are building a program that already exists, and this program adds nothing to the table, then why are you building it? Of course, in games you can build just a normal platformer and people will love it. But why should you do that? You will have more success with making a special platformer instead of a normal like everybody does. But with programs, there is no such thing as a prequel or a sequel. Your program has to mean something. It has to give the user something that other programs don't give to the user. And then you can sell your program better because you do something other programs don't. Rule number 15. If you were your character in this situation, how would you feel? Honesty lends to credibility, to unbelievable situations. Okay, if you were the user, what would you expect? I think there are a lot of people who forget this. But what do you think a button with menu on the side of a restaurant means? It can mean the menu of the site, like the navigation. But it can also mean the menu of your restaurant with the different meals on it. It can also mean that. Designing can be very tricky, and you should check your design with this question because it's important. If the user wants to do an action, what would he do? Also, in game design, open world is great, but don't you think if the player spends time going to a beautiful building you built, that he has to earn something? If your open world is full of little secrets, make sure you don't hint to little secrets that aren't there. Testing with other people helps in both situations. It's important to watch your user using the program, but also don't give any hints. If you have to give hints, you should work on that, because you will not always be there when every user uses your program. Except when the program is made for you only, but we are not counting on that. Rule number 16, this is a short one. What are the stakes? Give us a reason to root for the character. What happens if they don't succeed? Stack the odds against. Error handling. If the user did something he didn't want to do, what are the stakes? Can his work be away? Well, in programs, you want to get the stakes really low. But in games, this is another story. In games, what are the stakes? What happens if the player dies? Does he just lose a heart? Does he lose progress? Does he lose money? Think about this very carefully, because if it's too high, the player won't take any fun risk. If it's too low, the game will not be excited anymore. And we are going to do 4 rules in this video, because otherwise this video is way too short. We are going to do now rule number 17. No work is ever wasted. If it's not working, let go and move on. It'll come back around to be useful later. Indeed, every function you write, every drawing you draw, every design you try, every program you make, you can always use it later if you want. If your idea of your design is not working, let it go. If it was a good concept, you can always come back later. If it wasn't, let it go, it's good. Also, don't be afraid. If you wrote a function or an algorithm you will never use, you have learned something. You have learned to code and you have added some skill to your coding. You trained your mind to go faster, you trained maybe your fingers to type faster. It will have added something to you. You have thought about things and now you are more prepared for your next project. So no work is ever wasted, and that's a very good one to end. Now, please people, I suggest you make a program. If you are bored, make a program or sport. Go outside enough, but don't come into contact with people because Corona is real. If you like this video, by the way, like if you want to see more of this or you want to see more about programming. I make videos about designing and Casper make videos about programming. So subscribe and leave in the comments below what you are doing in these times, or leave in the comments below what you are working on. Maybe I'll answer to it. Probably I'll answer to it. See you next week. Bye.